My name is Tshepho Gath Movundlela. I'm a filmmaker and the founder and managing director of Wormwood Pictures and Entertainment, which is a company I founded in 2013 when I experimented with my first short film that turned out good, but I realized that it could be better. I was born in Mahwelereng Zone 2 in Limpopo Province in a small town called Mokopane, previously known as Potgietersrus. While growing up as a child, I often witnessed my mother channeling her experiences, emotions, and feelings into a couple of books that she wrote. And at one point, I went through one of the books and I just got inspired to be able to use that method of expressing myself in storytelling by deciding to tell a story about three young girls who came from a village and who had made promises to one another that they were going to make it in life. So the story just documented their process in terms of how they got to where they wanted to be. I was in grade 7 at the time, so I asked my parents to give me some money so I could get somebody to type the story out for me because I had handwritten it. When I was in grade 10, I had written 3 stories, and I was able to share with my classmates who were able to read the stories and give me some feedback, but also my English teacher at the time who took her time to go through the stories that I wrote to give me some feedback in terms of how I could improve in my writing. When I got to matric, I passed well, but then I was not able to progress forward to study at the university because I was not sure what I wanted to study. But also at home, finances were not that good because my brother was currently enrolled at university at the time. So I decided to take a gap year. During the gap year, I also decided to make a movie from the script that I had written about the 3 young girls. So I started putting people together. I reached out to individuals in my community that I knew had some background in drama, and also reached out to a couple of guys whom often shot weddings at home to serve as crew members for the production. So we did some auditions, got actors, and we began with the rehearsal processes. At one point, a house front opposite to my home in Limpopo, the lady there dated a guy who was studying film and television at a university in Gauteng. So I asked her to set up an appointment between myself and him, just so he could look at my script and probably give me some professional advice. Unfortunately, time was not on our side. So instead, he borrowed me a book by Michael Haig called Writing Screenplays That Sell, which he made clear that he needed back within a couple of days as he had to go back to university. So I had 3 days to read the book and I made notes, and it was during that time that I realized that the story I had written was not going to go anywhere, as it didn't conform to the proper formatting of screenwriting and didn't adhere to the structures and plot points. So I decided to call the production off. I also then decided at the time that film and television was a course I would want to pursue, and I applied at university to study the course, but I was rejected. So the following year, I was also at home, didn't have a plan, but I also realized I wasn't going to spend another year at home. So I spoke to my parents and we reached an agreement that I could contact some colleges in Gauteng where they offered film and television production to go study. So I contacted a couple of colleges and I enrolled at one of the colleges that promised to teach me film and television production, only to find out that I was actually learning journalism. I remember at one point I came across a group of teachers who were marching. I think they were asking for a wage increase or something like that. I took some nice pictures of them and I wanted to find out what their story was. So I didn't know how to go about asking the questions. I knew about the champagne structures. I knew about the inverted pyramid structures of journalism, but I didn't know how to apply them. And it is at that moment that I realized I did not belong in journalism. So also I was very much challenged financially at the time because it was a private college. So they wanted school fees paid on time. And that meant if I was not able to pay, then I would not be able to be accepted to be in the class on that day. So what I would do is I would go to school And whenever I see that the security guard is asking for fees cuts, then I turn back. And the moment he looks on the side, I just quickly run into the class and then attend in the college. I performed very well in the college, but I was not happy to study journalism, as it's not something that I wanted to do. In that same year, I applied again to the same university for film and television production, and I got rejected again. Towards the end of that year, I was very frustrated, very confused, didn't know where I was going with my life. At the time, I was a DJ. I did very well as a DJ. I was playing at some of the most prominent places in Gauteng, and I could often visualize and imagine myself becoming a successful DJ. But somehow I just couldn't get fulfillment from that. And on this specific day, I took a walk, as I often did, and I did a lot of introspection, just to, asking myself, where am I going with my life? And God appeared to me on that day, where He presented me with an opportunity to look at my life from a symbol of my fingers, using these two fingers, to say that this is the life that I was living. It was filled with entertainment, it was filled with fun, and it was promising to be something that's enjoyable, but in the long run, it was going to tend to become something painful and something unfulfilling, something that didn't have meaning, and gave me an opportunity to say I needed to let go of that life, come back and start a new life and on this side, which was going to start as a tough life. I was going to be difficult, but eventually I was going to cross a certain path which was going to lead to success. And He made a promise that He was going to make me a successful filmmaker, and also made me realize that there were people around that I could reach out to who would be able to offer support in my career as a filmmaker. So during the time, I then made the decision to say I'm going to change my life and follow filmmaking as a career. I had to let go of everything that I loved at the time. I had to quit being a DJ. I had to break up with the woman that I really loved at the time that I dated. I had to literally let go of everything that I knew and start my life afresh. So I began my relationship with God. And that was one of the most heaviest and painful period of my life. I received the strength to go through that process, and got people who were also there supportive for me spiritually, who were able to guide me and mentor me. So then I started developing that relationship with God. But again, at some point, I also asked God that, okay, I've changed my life. I've made the decision to follow you, and you promised that you're definitely going to improve my life. But I'm still at the same place. I was rejected twice at university for a course that I really want to study. I don't know what's going to happen now. I started watching YouTube videos to learn the skill of filmmaking, learning about sound, learning about cinematography, until one day I just felt like, you know what, all of this is not working out. I was broke, and I decided to sell my CD pouch, which is a bag that I used to put my CDs in during the time I was a DJ. So I went to a local shop, a local pawn shop, and wanted to pawn that CD bag, but also realized at that time that no one was actually going to buy it. And on my way back, I came across a poster posted outside a salon that was advertising film production services. And I took the contact details, and when I got to my flat, I contacted the numbers, and it was a gentleman who told me to come inside the salon, all the way to the back of the salon where I was to find an office. So I did that, and at the back of the salon, I found an office, and I met a gentleman called David Balingi, who came from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I told him what I wanted to do. I told him how passionate I was about film and television, and he gave me an opportunity. He took me to my first professional set, where I did sound. We were shooting a feature film, a low-budget feature film, and everything went great. I just found myself excelling in that space. I found myself excited and happy, and now started believing that there was light coming in my life and things were starting to change in a positive light, or a positive manner. It is in that company that I learned a lot of things. I learned how to edit, I learned how to operate a camera, and I also wrote my first feature film, which I directed as well. And we had a successful launch. Unfortunately, it struggled with distribution. I also made a couple of short films under that company, so I was able to then build some profile. One day, I then decided to experiment on my own by taking a camera and shooting a short film, where I wanted to be involved in the writing, the producing, the casting, the shooting, the directing, the editing, and the distribution as well. And all of that went well. So I then decided to resign from that company, realizing that I needed to protect my IP, and registered Wormwood Pictures and Entertainment in 2014. In the same year, I applied again to that same university, and this time when I went for my interview, I went with a bag full of DVDs of the movies that I had made, books that I had written, and links that I've been watching on YouTube that I had put on a document, and told the ladies that interviewed me at the time to say, "You rejected me twice, and this is my third try, and in the time that you rejected me, this is how I've improved myself. This is what I've done." And it is on that table that I was accepted to now study film and television production at Tshwane University of Technology in 2015. In my first year, I then wrote my second feature film, and that was my first feature film to be licensed to a national broadcaster. And in my second year, I also did the same. In my third year, I also did the same. In my third year, I'd done 3 feature films that were successfully licensed to national broadcasters and were playing on TV. And I was working on my fourth when the HOD for the film program at the time, Dr. Francois Himan, informed me that actually he copied me in an email that he had sent to the university to say that Tshepho Movundlela has made history in the university in the 45 years of the film program's existence, to have successfully developed, produced, and made films and successfully licensed them to broadcasters each year for 3 years. It's never been done in the university, and it's something that they were great. I mean, they were happy about. So the university wrote an article about me and published it in the student publication. And I remember the title of it was "Young Filmmaker Makes Film School History." And that's one of the things that really inspired me and really assured me that, okay, I'm now on the right track, and the promise that God has made to me is actually being fulfilled. Today is almost the end of 2025. That's probably 11 years ago. I've had a film since 2015 to today, playing on TV each year, and at some point on the video on demand platforms with paid subscriptions. So that has been a great privilege for me. Having struggled to enter into the film school, but then somehow got transformed to be able to succeed as a filmmaker. In my journey, I've also provided opportunities to film school students who would do practicals in my company at Wormwood Pictures and Entertainment, where they had the internships done. I've also given opportunities to individuals who wanted to build resumes in productions, who were seeking practicals within the film industry. And I think my biggest highlight was in 2024 when I trained 16 people from my hometown in Mokopane in all phases of the film production, and they were able to work on a documentary that was commissioned by a national broadcaster, which is currently on the screen. It has been a very painful journey. It has not been easy, but I've somehow gotten the strength to go through each and every challenge that I experienced. I went through a lot of growth, and I had a lot of mentors in my life in different aspects, whether be it business, be it production as well, and just life in general. And since I went to film school, I've been able to also knock certain doors that naturally I wasn't going to be able to open. And I've experienced quite a lot with my qualification as a filmmaker. At Wormwood Pictures and Entertainment, we do film productions for national broadcasters, and we also do professional video productions for corporate companies, connecting them to their audiences and helping them in telling their stories to the audiences that they are targeting. And over the past years, we've served quite a lot of companies through video production services, and we've also witnessed how that has contributed successes to their sales and to their growth. At the moment, at Wormwood Pictures and Entertainment, we've also been able to build our own learner management system, which is a platform that hosts courses that enrolls individuals who want to study a skill in film and television production to learn in their own pace online with pre-recorded lessons, and they do assignments, and at the end of the course they get a certificate that is verifiable with a unique reference. At the moment, I am currently in the fundraising stage for my first cinema debut. Hopefully in 2026, I will be going into production for that feature film, and looking forward to the release in 2027 in cinemas.